them, right? It was pure darkness to the Egyptians and pure light to the Hebrews. It was the same as when he was taking on Ra. With me there's life, boys, come on, just move. And it freaks me out because God's saying, you know, I go out before you and I'm coming behind you. And you know that coming in behind you is not just to make sure that the last strain that's coming, it says even if you stumble, Daddy's going to pick you up and we're going to get through this. Hold Daddy's hand, let's go. Yes, look at the fishes in the water. Come on. And he walks them through. Which was the tribe who went out first? Judah. Praise always goes first. Judgment is last. Done. But the judgment was left. But the last one was always being carried. Those who are his get pulled across and ultimately. There is no judgment on the side, there's only praise. And when he comes in, it says in Hebrew that the chariots got stuck in camp. The chariot wheels got stuck in the mud. That what you trust in is the thing that will kill you. And he allowed them to see their past wash away. Who is God? Where is Pharaoh? And Yeshua stands and he's looking at Nicodemus and he says, you're a teacher of Israel and you don't understand these things. I changed you. You chose to follow me. You chose to listen to me. You chose to love me. You chose to trust me. You didn't do your own crossing. You followed me. And we walked at my word. I did these things. And he brought them up and he changed them from slaves to free. Then he took them to a mountain so that he could betroth them to him. I'll discuss more on this at Shavuot. And he says, no, no, no. Your inheritance is not just for you. You need to love me first. You need to declare your love to a nation. You will stand with me and I will be yours and you will be mine. And then I will take you, and he puts him against another water that was impossible to cross. The Jordan River is one of the fastest flowing rivers in the world at that time. They blocked it off so it doesn't look like it now, but the thing rushes. White water. And it's not just sloping, it's an in. And Joshua says the water was at flood level. And he tells the Levites, walk a little bit up, jump in with the big gold box on your back, and don't worry, God will stop it. And he parts the waters again, from free, betrothed to God, to coming into full inheritance. You're mine and where you are will belong. When you look at your walk, look at the crossings, look at the wildernesses you will go through. I promise you the pictures are the same. Why do you think Messiah was baptized in the River Jordan? I want to change your function, man. Don't get stuck in the wilderness. Don't looking over your shoulder the whole time because you think you're in Egypt. There is no past running after you. I'm going to take care of that and I'm going to show you how. And he takes him and he takes his disciples to this point with all of this build up. And it says, at the time of the festival of unleavened bread. It says, at the head Kohanim and the Torah teachers began trying to find some way to get rid of Yeshua because they were afraid of him. It's funny how Pharaoh tried to destroy Moses. At this point, the adversary went into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12. He approached the head Kohanim and the temple guard and discussed with them how he might turn Yeshua over to them. They were pleased and offered to pay him money. He agreed and began looking for a good opportunity to betray Yeshua without the people's knowledge. They came to the day of Matzah, on which the Passover lamb was to be killed. Yeshua said to Peter and Yochanan, instructing them, go and prepare a seder, go and prepare the meal that we can eat. They asked him, where do you want us to prepare it? He told them, Ezra, you are to go into the city. A man carrying a jar of water will meet you there, or will meet you. Follow him into the house he enters, and say to the owner, the rabbi says to you, where is the guest room where we are to eat the Pesach meal with my Talmidim? We will show you a large room upstairs already furnished, marked with preparations there. They went and they found things just as Yeshua had told them there would be, and they prepared the seder. So he goes in and he gets them prepared, and they start to ask a question as they're coming up to this thing, and they say, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? You see, when you have a triclinium, there are certain seats that are designated to the most, how do I put this, elevated guests. The host would always be sitting there. An honored seat would be sitting here because the door would be over here and you would recline on the host. Okay? Who was reclining on Yeshua? John, the disciple that he loved. He was reclining on him. This isn't the meal where you sit together. They were reclining, they lean on their left elbow, and they would dip their bread in and eat it, and sometimes he would like, hey, you want a munchie? And then they would eat it. Very intimate stuff. I mean, I love you guys, but I'm not going to be like anybody. To eat from someone's fingers kind of tells you that's like real close fellowship. But they had been together for 3 years. Okay? Who was the one sitting on this side was considered also an honored seat. In fact, the place of honor. Judas Iscariot. Because the one who dips his bread in with me is the one who will betray him. Physically, he's the only other person that is possible to be able to reach the bowl here. And get this. So one of you will betray me. Is it I? Adonai? Is it I, Lord? Is it I? Is it I? Judas looks at him and he goes, is it me, Rabbi? Listen carefully. Who do you say that I am? You are Ata Moshiach. You are the Messiah God. And the one Talmid that was going to betray him said, no, you're a rabbi. He never saw him as the Messiah. And he said, you have sinned. That bitter herbs that he had to eat was the bitterness of betrayal. I'm reclining on you. I'm resting on you. In intimate fellowship, he gave him every opportunity to say, come on, man. Do you love me? Are you here with me? Are you a Talmid? Don't call me Rabbi if you don't listen. If I am your God, come on, do something about it. What are you doing? It was Peter and John who went up, right? John gets the seat of favor. Where's Peter sitting? More than likely this way, because if I'm reclining this way, chilling with the host, he looks across to John and he says, hey, what's he talking about? It's very difficult for it to be. He would have had to sit real at the end to be able to crane his head to be able to see where he was sitting. So Peter, being Peter, probably salty faced because he prepared the sailor, thought he was going to get an elevated position and decided that sitting at the end would probably be the best. Maybe he thought of Yeshua's teaching, don't elevate yourself, but sit at the bottom so when they bring you forward, you will be highly exalted. Except he wasn't. He had some humility slept into him. It was his job to get up and wash the people's feet. Who is least among you will serve. But there is no greater love for someone who lays his life down for those who he loves. It's not about you, it's your privilege to be able to elevate people above you. It's your privilege to be able to teach them and bring them into the kingdom. It is your privilege to pour yourself out so they can receive God. Don't lose it. And Peter gets up, Yeshua gets up and he goes, no, I'm going to show you about humility. He's the host. He says, let me wash your feet. And he starts here and he walks his way around. By the time he gets to Peter, Peter's probably trying to climb underneath the table, but the table's only that high. It's really difficult. And he says, again, wash my whole body. He says, but you're already clean. See, Peter's problem was he had to be called twice before. The third time God called him, Lech Achorai, come, was after he had denied him. After he was crucified and he met him on the seas of Galilee, he said, do you love me? I'm going to ask you the same thing. Do you love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind? If you love him, are you celebrating the way he said? Are you taking and you're letting go of your past and you're stepping up to him and you're going, Abba, I'm all yours? Or are you following me? Do you want to know me? Do you want to be healed? Do you want to let go of your past? Get rid of the gemens and focus on him. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question. It's just something I just need to ask you. It's
Sure.
been on my mind for a very, very long time. If Yeshua actually washes feet at Passover, why do we wash hands at the Passover?
Because you never had sandals walking for wherever.
Wasn't he doing it as a symbol? Not just out of a practicality.
It was considered a normal thing. You think, there are a couple of lovely Hebraic expressions. When it comes to a rabbi discipleship principle, when you look at some of the old missionary writings, it says part of the biggest calling, and a lovely book that I would encourage you to read through. It's obviously not gospel, but it gives you an indication of how they're taught. There's a book called Perkei Avot, the wisdom of our fathers. And each rabbi gave his wisdom. And one of the greatest things that they said to them was, you need to raise up lots of disciples. And another wonderful expression that they would say, let me try to get this right, is that sit at the rabbi's feet, drink his words thirstily, and when you walk with him, be covered with his dust. You see, in Hebrew, it was all about your walk, not about your talk. They call it your halakha. So when they tell you, walk after me, he's saying, do like me. So it wasn't about your hands, it was about your feet. It was an invitation. Peter, what are you doing? I'm calling you again. He says, but I'm unclean. I'm not worthy enough. Because remember, a fisherman was never declared worthy. When you were chosen to be let me put it this way, when you were growing up, you would study Torah, right, in the synagogue, in the teachers, and some of the synagogues have like rooms next door. And there's a massive one on the right-hand side. And when you're standing there, they would teach you Torah, and if you were gifted enough, they would move you so that you could study the prophets and the writings, right? If not, you would go become a fisherman or a builder. So think of where Peter's at right now. He's saying again, second time, come. And he's saying, I'm not good enough. And he says, let me wash your feet. Let me see your halakha. And he's saying, Lord, you're going to have to wash all of me because I'm all broken. And he says, no, the only problem you have is you haven't made the decision to walk through the water yet. Step up and carry on moving. There's a red street waiting for you. Let me change your function. Because the blessing I have for you is so much greater. It's all about your legs. And a practical thing about when you came in, you were wearing sandals and it was hot and dusty and stuff, and they would literally just wash that off. No, rinsing of the hands was kind of a normal thing, but he was challenging him about his heart.
There's a beautiful picture as well. Because they wear sandals, you wash your feet and it will get dirty. It's also a picture of correcting your walk, so to speak. So when you wash the washing of the feet is almost like a mini baptism, if you want to put it that way.
It's halakha.
Yeah, it's all about the walk. Yeah,
it's not what you say. I don't say, Lord, did not do this, did not do this. And he said, I did not know you.
Yeah.
He says, it's all about what you do. And if you declare God is God, if Pesach is a sign and a symbol between you, the world, and God, what are you doing with it? If I go up, if this is a sign and a symbol, modern day, for between my God and my wife, and I say, no. Wedding ring, no thanks. What am I telling the world? What am I telling my wife? What am I telling my God? Pesach is a sign and a symbol that he says to you, we're proud. Do this, every time you do this, remember me. Walk like me. What I do, you do. How I talk, you talk. But you have to make that choice. You have to stand up and say, okay, God, I'm all in. And it says, he carries on going through this. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to abbreviate. Alright, jump down to verse 17. And he says, then, taking a cup of wine, he made a bracha, a blessing. That blessing is not a prayer. Well, it is a prayer, but it's not like a prayer like we would do. The words actually, we know two rabbis, Hillel and Shammai, had a discussion about how we would bless God for thanking him for fruit of the vine, because water is pretty scarce, so we've got grapes and things like that. So wine was a staple at every meal. They considered it a little bit rough. If you had pure wine, a bunch of animals, you would have to dilute it with water, and even the kids would drink of it. Slightly diluted. So every time there was wine and water on the table, okay, every time there was bread, we think of God's joy and we think of his basic necessity. That's what we do at Shabbat. And he says a bracha, and the bracha went like this. Blessed are you, Lord God, King of the universe, who brings forth fruit from the vine. Very simple. You're not blessing the wine, you're blessing God for the wine. Okay? It is one of the oldest prayers we have. And he makes a bracha. Again, this is a tradition. Takes this and he shares it among himself. For I tell you, from now on I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. Yes, some people go, King of the universe, wait for fruit from the vine. I will not drink of the fruit of the vine. He's echoing the very words you just said. Also take a piece of matzah and he made bracha. Same, a different blessing. Okay? And he broke it and he gave it to him. This is my body which you have been given to me. Do this in memory of me. And he did the same with a cup after the meal. So you Shabbat, you only focus on one cup. With Pesach there's 4 cups. Remember in Exodus 6, there were 4 promises. And each cup has a place and a name. Okay? And they go like this. Remember, I'm the Lord of God who brought you out from under your burdens from the Egyptians. It's called the cup of sanctification. It's a cup of holiness. I've set you apart. I will rescue you from your oppression. The cup of thanksgiving. And the cup after the meal is, I will redeem you with an outstretched arm through extraordinary chastisement. I'm going to redeem you. He's setting it all up for them to understand. Look at this bread. Look at this. I'm going to break it. I'm being broken for you. You see, there's an interesting cup. Well, before I get there, he takes after the meal. They go out after singing Hallel Psalms. What they would do afterwards, they would sing praise and worship to God. Hallelujah. That's where we get the term Hallel Psalms. And then they would go out. If you look at Exodus 12, verse 42, it says, this will be a night of vigil for you forever. Tradition has it now that the Jews go out and they pray all night. And he goes and he times up and he goes, night of vigil, and he takes and he goes. He leaves the city and he goes up onto the Mount of Olives and he starts to pray. And he prays 3 times. On the mountain of anointing. Okay? Gethsemane is an olive press. It's an olive stone. The Mashiach, the anointed one, gets pressed out. He prays 3 times. 3 times you press olives. Each time you put on another stone, making it heavier. Each time you put on another stone, you get a lower grade oil. All for different purposes. But the first extra virgin olive oil was the best. It was the anointing. It was for everything. And each time it says, he went back and prayed, and he went back and prayed, and he went back and prayed. And then he says he sweated like drops of blood. Sins past, present, future. You were those stones. Your sins, your Mitzrayims. You were what made him sweat like drops of blood. He comes back to his disciples, and they've been traveling a long time, and he's standing there and he says, could you not watch with me even for 1 hour? Pray with me. There are people out there who still need me. Watch with me. This is about freedom, man, but you've got to choose it. He comes and he gets arrested and he goes up. But before we discuss that, I want you to backtrack quickly to Jeremiah 25. Alright guys, I'm going to take 5 more minutes if you don't mind. Jeremiah 25 verse 15 in my Bible. Remember while he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, he says what? Lord, is there any other way? What does he say? May this cup pass. If it's possible, but he says he'll drink it. Is he talking about the cup of redemption? I'm going to redeem you. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a celebration. Drink this because you have been a redeemed people. He's not talking about the celebration. He's talking about this cup. Listen to what God says. For here is what Adonai, the God of Israel, says to me. Take this cup of the wine of fury from my hand and make all the nations where I'm sending you drink it. They will drink it, stagger it to and fro, and behave like crazy people because of the sword that I will send among them. Then I took the cup from Adonai's hand and made all the nations drink that Adonai had sent me. 25, verse 15. This is called the cup of wrath, the cup of God's fury. Did he not come to pay the price for all the nations? Did God not come to save the world? He says, my boy, I've got a cup for you, but you're not going to like it. I need you to take all the brokenness. I need you to take death. I need you to take sins, past, present, and future. I need you to get rid of that Mitzrayim so that you can set them free. I need you to take on each sin. You are going to be poured out like water. Remember, a couple of days before this, he's looking at Lazarus' tomb. Or is there any other way? Says no. And they arrest him and they take him up. And after beating him, after examining him, after pressing Pontius Pilate, after whipping him, you know how a Roman whip was designed? We see this lovely image of one that goes nice thin little stripes. That's not what they used. They used something that had leather fingers, and on top of each leather finger was a little lead bit. It was designed to catch into the flesh and pull out chunks when they removed it. And a skilled guide, which was always used, knew exactly how to get up in there to make every finger stick. And they didn't just whip his back, they whipped the front as well.
Psalmist said you could even see the bones.
Because it pulls out all the sin, it pulls out all the tendons, it pulls out chunks of meat. Beaten, broken, marked.
But it's like, after this fifth cup, I know you read about it, but like, why did you not mention it to Seder? I'm just asking.
Because I need you to understand exactly what's going on. If I had to do this at the Seder, we're going to be in 12.
No, I mean,
What,
he
and
had
that's
4
it.
cups instead of 5 cups.
He always comes to look at the promises. It's always about a festival, not judgment. I've come to redeem you, but I had to judge them first to get you free. So he judges the gods, he takes away the sin, takes away whatever was holding you back, Pharaoh and whoever, so that you can choose that cup and you can choose to move forward. And after all that beating, they give him a crossbeam. And we have this image that, that he carried a cross. It wasn't so. Historically, we know he carried the crossbeam. That crossbeam they would take and they would either put it on a tree or another piece. That center beam, the actual crucifixion stake would probably be about this high. Okay, it was always put on a main road. And crucifixion was not invented by the Romans, apparently by the Persians, but Josephus says it was perfected by the Romans. It would always have to be nice and close, and people coming to celebrate would understand this is what happens when you come against Rome. You say this rabbi is the king, I tell you he's there. Look at him. And people would come and they would mock and they would spit at his face. And they would be so busy focusing on Pesach, they would walk past the lamb. And he puts him out in the city gate. They crossbeam and they put it on, and it says, Josephus said, nobody would use rope to hold them up, but for those they hated, they used nails. And slowly but surely, after pulling all your muscles and your bones out of joint, you don't die from pain, you die from asphyxiation. What happens is you get into such an awkward position that water starts to build up from your toes up, and you actually drown in your own fluids. That would normally take a couple of days. So if they wanted you to die quickly, they would break your legs. Remember the guy who came in and they said, all right, Shabbat is coming, break his legs, and they would take an iron club and they would walk up and they would break the legs so that you can't push up to get above to take a breath. And they came and they marveled that he died so quickly. And just to check, they stabbed him in his side and blood and water came out. It's funny how the image of wine and water, that blood that is a seal that gives you life, keeps on occurring. And we know today that the doctors have done studies and things like that, that sign with blood and water mixed into the side of the body shows of a massive heart attack, which is a sure sign that he was dead. At the time he said, God, why have you forsaken me? He looked up and he offered up his spirit. Remember the Passover lamb that was left over was always burnt up completely. It was everything. Knowing that you guys will be sitting there and every time you come to a Pesach, you remember that. You got the price you paid to set you free. But Baruch Hashem, that's not the end of the story. You remember there was a resurrection. It's funny that at exactly twilight it's mentioned that he gave up his spirit. That would be the time in the temple where they would slaughter the lamb for Passover. And they said, it is done, and he said, it is done. And just going back a little bit, that cross was prepared for who? That execution stake was prepared for who? Barabbas. You know, it says in Torah, when the high priest dies, if you accidentally kill somebody, it's a case of manslaughter, you're swinging an axe and then it falls off and then it hits somebody in there and they die, you have to go live in a city of refuge. And you get safe there because emotions of other family members might not keep you safe. But there's a cost. You have to leave your home and you have to go stay there. And those were Levitical cities. And you were only allowed to go back when the high priest died. You never intently picked Yeshua up and delved into the cross. But by default, because of your sin, you've caused people to die. And he took that price, he took your execution stake, and he said, through my death, you will not be allowed to go home.
It's also beautifully in accordance with the law of redemption.
Right. And there's, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm watching big one. Yeah. All of these images, we know that when we look at first fruits, when God said you would take them up, Leviticus 23 talks about waving a sheaf of first fruits offering before God. First fruits has always been the picture of, you take the first of your crops and you would give it to God, not store it. You would wave it up before Him and you would say, Lord, thank you so much for the crops that are coming. I give you the first bit because I know the harvest is going to be amazing. And it's going to last me more than the entire year to come. And it says He was resurrected on the day, Sunday, the first day of the week. And first fruits is a picture of the resurrection of the dead. And He's standing there before God and He says, right, Baruch Hashem, Lord Father, you have been faithful. But I'm looking forward to the crop that's coming behind me. See, we have this invitation, and Scripture just screams about it throughout everything. Just to get you to understand that He has an invitation. He's got to pull you out of bondage. He's got to pull you out of your bad teaching, your wrong teaching. He's got to pull you from everything that's holding you back, your past, your fears, your doubts. And you're going to pass through some Ruach HaKodesh, some Holy Spirit. You're going to pass through some water. You make that declaration when you get baptized. If you haven't been, think about it. You will not see the kingdom of heaven. And remember, this baptism, this mikvah was never just a once-off thing. It was something every time they went into the very presence of God, I would make sure I'm outwardly clean. Who mess in the heels of the Lord? And this new covenant that He is bringing in, okay? It says in the new covenant, we've sort of started in it, but there's still a fulfillment coming. It says, I will not have to teach anybody about Adonai because they all would know me. Sadly, we're not there yet, but the process has started. There's change in us, and it says you will be sprinkled with water, you will be clean. It talks about a mikvah in Ezekiel. And He's inviting you. I did all this for you. Look at the picture. One last one. There. shook heaven and earth to show you that I'm real, that I've chosen you, that I can distinguish between my people. I have no equal. I died, well basically people, the gods of Egypt have died, so that I could set you free. And I brought you unto myself, and he takes him up to the mountain and he says, all right, you've seen what I've done. Now will you choose me? At the base of Mount Sinai, he says, I've redeemed you, but you have a choice to make.
Thumbs up.
Right.
Quick question.
Yes.
In church we used to celebrate his resurrection also. How do we do that now? So
Yeah,
the
well,
resurrection day, like the first day.
yes. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's nowhere. You would obviously have to be able to take a sheaf, and that was considered. The priest would go up and they would wave a sheaf offering. Okay, it was for them. Okay, but I mean, you were there normally at that time because it was a holy congregation on the first and the seventh day. All right. I think at this point it's difficult, because number one, there is no temple. Paul says, you are the temple. Attend. Everybody here, everybody that is part of the body, you all make up one piece of it. So I think if you would just stop for a second on Sunday morning and just look up and remember what he did, I think that would be acceptable.
But the Pesach without the resurrection is actually empty. So surely that resurrection has some sort of more. It has a significance which overwhelms everything else.
Well, what is the resurrection tell you?
Sorry?
What is the resurrection tell you? If Passover is all about your freedom and bringing you through,
But
what does
tells
that
you
resurrection tell you?
that the Messiah has risen, that he is not dead.
Which means what? Look at the pictures of Torah. What does that mean?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, he's going to give you a picture. If everything is a shadow of a thing and a time, if we've looked at all the framework of the picture, what does the resurrection mean?
You start. You go in like a mikveh. You go in, you die to yourself, you are resurrected a new creation. So that is just the start.
He is the first fruits of what is to come, to change the people forever. But at the same time, we know, Baruch Hashem, we know because of the resurrection, the sacrifice was accepted. Right? So when you look at what he has done, remember, we get stuck on this, guys. It is a massive moment in history. I mean, our calendar used to be BC and AD, before Christ and after death, right? Yeah, no, that's not good. Okay? But now he comes in and he says, all right, this is a massive thing, but I just did not come to die.
That's what I'm saying.
Came to teach. This is important. This is a moment when you set free, but set free for what? So you can follow me. Become like me. Lech achorai. Walk like me. On first fruits from that time on, there will always be a wave offering of the dead bull race. Baruch Hashem. We are going to stand there and we know, because he was raised and he was the first fruits, we will be raised. And God is faithful. So it is something to be celebrated. That's why God laid it out in first fruits. He is the first of them all who are never going to taste death again. Amen, amen. Right? This is an exciting thing, and that's why it's a feast for 7 days. Don't just get so hung up on the point of it, because then you miss all the teaching before. You miss that he died. You miss that he came and he was resurrected on first fruits. You miss that he taught for 40 days after that. Then you miss his ascension. Then you miss, just right after, Shavuot happens and the pouring out of the Holy Spirit. It's all linked together, man. It's all pictures of what's coming. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. So it's all part of the whole picture.
Absolutely. And hey, there's so much, there's so much that you literally have to stop and you have to go, do yourself a favor. Right, this is the night we eat. This is what's happening. This is the time he was resurrected. The days before, you can actually stop and go, he was being tested at this time. 4 days before he came on triumphal entry. Mark out a calendar and remember those times so you get a chronology so that you can experience everything that you went through and then you receive the fullness of that. It's very cool.
No, you actually just say what I was going to say.
Okay. Get stuck in it. Alright, I didn't go through the Seder. I will. One quick question. We mainly focus on charoshet, which is your bitter herbs. The shank bone, which sometimes you can put there as a symbol to remind you of the lamb. The Jewish guys don't eat lamb on the day because they don't have a temple. Me, I eat lamb. Okay, it's a reminder of the lamb. Okay, and I like lamb. Okay, so we put a shank bone on thing as a reminder. It's called the zohar, which means an outstretched arm. He redeemed me with an outstretched arm. He redeemed us from bondage with an outstretched arm. If you understand the picture, it's beautiful. Okay? There is the maror, which is, again, bitter herbs. So your charoshet would normally be a lettuce or parsley, which is karpas. And then I would normally put in an egg. Okay? That egg was there because they were in Babylon and they couldn't go to temple. So that egg becomes a boiled egg, which is roasted by fire, which is a symbol of temple. It'll be on my Seder plate, but it's not something that I consider really important because they wouldn't have had that at Yeshua's Seder because he had a temple. Okay? So what I mainly focus on is the shank bone, the bitter herbs, which is normally horseradish. Okay? Remember the bitterness of slavery, those are the lamb, the horseradish, those were instructed. And then they have something called, where they take the 3 matzahs, the unleavened bread, and they put it in a yachatz. Yachatz is basically a bag. There's 3 in 1. I'll explain that on the line. It's pretty cool. It happens all over Jerusalem and no one understands it except the Christians. I'm like, how do you not see that? That is so amazing. Then you have to control yourself because you're in Jerusalem and they might not understand it yet. Okay? But they're beautiful images. If you guys want to put the lettuce and you want to put the boiled egg, feel free. Okay? I'll just mention it as I go through the Seder and say, alright, now if you would like to, you can dip the egg and that. I'm not terribly focused on that. It's another interesting image is that they say the egg is like the Israeli people. The more fire you put, the harder they get inside. Yeah, that's right. The more you try and crunch them and cook them to death, the more tasty they get, right? So they love that image. Me, I smile and I'm like, okay, alright, whatever. What we are commanded to do is have the Passover lamb, have the bitter herbs, and have the unleavened bread. There are some things that are traditional, like I said, the 4 cups of wine. Nowhere in Scripture where you'll see that in the Old Testament, but I know, and I've shown you in Luke 22, that there was a 3rd cup. That means there was a 4th cup, there was halal. So we're going to go through a traditional Seder, but obviously in a Messianic way, but I'm going to make it smaller, otherwise we will be there until 6 o'clock at night. They literally read the entire Exodus story. Yeah, you wait until you experience it in Hebrew. Yeah, it's a beast. Right? But you go through this process. So those are the main symbols there. Please feel free if you want to include anything else. Again, I'm trying to get back to as much biblical base as possible, but at the same time, if I know Messiah himself upheld a tradition, then I will go, alright, if my rabbi did it and I'm supposed to be like my rabbi, I do it. Okay, that's my heart. I want to emulate him in everything. Okay, so I'm going to include those things. I don't normally do the parsley thing. For me, it's the shank bone, the bitter herbs, and the matzah that are the most important. There's also something called the not charoshet. I think it's the charoshet with the no. That's the apple and the honey and the nuts. Charoshet, yes. Charoshet. Okay, it's basically it looks like water. They brought this tradition in over time. It dates really nicely back. Predates Yeshua. Okay. That there was, it's sort of like a sweet apple and peanuts that are sort of put in. If you're allergic, like some people, make your own nuts and keep it, make sure it's separate. But it is to remind us of the mortar they were used to make bricks. Okay, so again, it's all about remembering where you came from. But don't get stuck just on that. The salt water is a reminder of your tears. Okay, so when you dip it in there, you remember how many people cried out to God before they were saved. Alright? How many people were crying, and you can, if you want to personalize it a little bit more, how Messiah cried when he saw Lazarus' tomb, when he cried when he came in on triumphant entry. There were both times where he was completely crying.
Are we going to have a meal as well? Are we?
Yes, you have to bring them in. So what's basically going to happen is we're going to go through the symbols very, very quickly, and then we're going to have a main meal. So it's the first 2 cups with 1 or 2 images, main meal. Then there are 2 cups afterwards. So So don't think just because you ate, you're going to run away. No, I got you. You're staying the whole time. Okay? Not until I say thank you, love you, bye-bye. All right? I will do some teaching. There's one thing that we have not gone through with the cups. It's very, very important. It really just brings the heart of everything together for me. It's really touched my heart over the years. I will discuss that on the night, purely because I've run out of time. But yeah, so there will be a meal, and there will be a dessert, and then with the dessert, then I will do the teaching on the third and fourth cup. Okay. Any other questions? It's good as you see fit, but it is a feast unto God. So yeah, guys, if you put on your fancy clothes. Right, this is a festival. Hang on a second. This is a feast to Adonai. So please, you know me. I'm not phased too much about stuff. But if you want to come in, maybe let's negate the pluckies for one night, and actually pretend like you're celebrating a feast. Yeah, this isn't a time of rest. This is a time of celebration. You wouldn't go to
I'm going to come barefoot.
You wouldn't go to a wedding in pluckies generally. So let's try and keep it a little bit nice, but as you feel comfortable. It's not black tie. I don't want you to get so focused on dress that you miss the point. You're there to remember what God has done.
Last question, the washing stations, do every host have a washing station for their own table?
You bring your own bowl, you bring your own towels, and you as the host, it is your privilege to wash your hands. Alright? You will make like your rabbi. That is what we're called to do, and that is what we're gonna do. Okay? And all happy. Alright, prayer time is happy time.